tell you how I first knew about this car. It was bought by a person that lived in Bowman, where I live. In fact, he lived about halfway between Bowman and Orangeburg. And he was a retired colonel. And in 1966, I have all the paperwork. He traded a 1966 Buick two-door hardtop Wildcat for this 68. And he retired when he bought this and drove it home. His cousin told me that he had never driven it out of the state after he retired and got home. And he took real good care of it. He has had everything, all any repairs that were made, he had a receipt for it, and he kept it up real good. The last 10 years he was in service, he spent in Washington. I didn't know when he died that he still had this car, because the last 10 years he'd been driving Cadillacs. But his neighbor that lived on the farm across the road said that he had this car. He got it out every week and drove it around the farm and put it back in the barn. So that helped protect the car. Right. And it had 81,000 miles on it when I bought it. He died, and this car was sold in his estate and was put on display at the old Chrysler Plymouth building on Broughton Street in Orangeburg. I stopped and looked at it twice and went on, and then a friend of mine told me this was S.P. Schuler's car. That was a retired colonel. So I got my mechanic and we went back and drove it. And he said it just seemed solid to me all over. The motor's good, transmission's good, it doesn't rattle. Somebody has taken good care of this, so I bought it. And the paint had faded on it in the years that he had it. This was 5 years ago. In August will be 5 years since I bought it. And he had the color it was, so I had it repainted in the same color. And that's all I've done to it over the years. And it has a dispatch of 100,000 mark, and it's got 2,240 miles on the speedometer. First year we had it, I drove it to a car show in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, and after the show was over, my wife and I were coming out. There were two men standing at the gate, and they said, "Is this car for sale?" I said, "All cars are for sale." And they said, "What are you asking for it?" I said, $1 a mile. They said, "Well, how much would that be?" I said, "Well, let me look at the odometer and see what it's worth today." And so I did, and I told them it was selling today for $83,462. And if they wanted to pay cash, I would knock off the $462. But it didn't sell. But it sounded pretty good, $1 a mile. Yeah. Well, a few months ago, it just reached zero and started over, and that's why I've only got 2,341 miles on it today. But it's been a good car, and it has all the extras on it. It's got power steering, power brakes. You set the speed wherever you want it. And you're on the highway and it goes. through. And that's about the story of how I came in possession of the car. But I had known it all its life from the Colonel driving it just around home.
Yeah.
Fast start. This car has a 430, 350 horsepower engine with a 4-barrel carburetor, which makes it use a lot of gas, but also has a lot of power and speed.